What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about TOSHI today. It is the 6th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $0.00039 with 8 hours and 26 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Before we get into the analysis, as we typically do, I just want to point out what we're doing here, okay? So we had a lot of bearish momentum being built, and now we have some bullish momentum being built here, okay? Bearish momentum that brought us down to a low. We've shifted into bullish momentum, but really we haven't done anything. We're just kind of moving sideways. We haven't had to move up or move down, okay? This specific situation. I want to go back in time. We're just focusing on the MACD here. We're going to use the other indicators in a second and do the analysis as we typically do. And maybe these aren't good examples, but you know, some of it here. We were red. We moved up. We were consolidating. We flipped green a little bit, and before we actually started to pump higher, and then we moved higher. You know, here we were kind of in an uptrend. It's a little bit different than what we're experiencing now because we are, you know, whether we like it or not, in a downtrend. But as you start to see here, you know, whenever you are consolidating, you are in a bit of a downtrend here. We flipped green at the lows right here, or we flipped green just before the lows, kind of consolidating before we actually had our move up, and then we had our move up. We were in a downtrend. We flipped green for a little while, and then we had our move up. Here we're in a downtrend. We're at the base of this trend, and if you notice here, we flipped green. We didn't really move up immediately. We moved down a little bit even. We had a lower low, but we flipped green, and then we had a nice move up. That move there, which seems kind of small, but from a low to a high, it's actually a 165% move there. That's kind of nice. Again, you know, even here at the base of this range, when we moved down right before this little pop, we had some green. We didn't really go anywhere. We were moving sideways, but we had some green, and then we popped, right? We're moving down here. We're at the lows of this next area here, right? In this area, we flipped green here on the MACD. You flipped green right here. We had a little initial pop. That's a nice 30% pop, but really we were just hanging out in this zone. We were green for a little while, and then once we crossed above the zero, that's actually whenever we had that pop up here. Maybe that's something to note too. Once we were, you know, we were green here, but we were far away from the zero. Once we got closer to the zero, that's whenever we had that pop up. Here at the base, no green, and then pump. We just pumped as soon as we turned green, so not a good example of it there. Here we're coming down, and at the base we have some green again. We're a little bit of a ways away from the zero, but that pop came in with the cross above the zero after we were green for a little while. Do you see it, right? I could keep going. We've got an example right there. We've got an example right here at this low. We've got an example even right here at this little pop right here. We've got it right now. Okay, that's all. You know, we could have spent the next 5 minutes talking about all those other examples, but we are far away from the zero at this point in time. Okay, we are consolidating. We've been green for a little bit. I'm not saying we're absolved of going lower. We can go lower, but in the reference of this move, I would doubt that we go too much lower, right? Like back here, for example. Let's see, where was it? Where was the that primary example? Right here, right? Where you flipped green for a little while, you were far away from the zero with your oscillators. Did you go lower? Yes, but then you moved higher abruptly after that, right? So I'm not saying we can't go lower. I'm just saying from a time perspective in relevance to this move that we've had since October 9th, this drop, we should see a nice little comeback, a nice little pop. And any day now is an appropriate response or an appropriate measurement of time for that, but maybe even any week now, right? If it's not today, it's not in the next 7 days, maybe the following week, right? The week before Christmas might be, or the week of Christmas might be the week that we pump. But as we get closer, I would keep this in mind. As these oscillators get closer and closer to the zero, we are right at that threshold where we cross above. When that cross happens, that's typically where these pumps come in, is right during these crosses. That's where those little large movements happen, right here. I guess here we cross above the zero, and that actually promoted some stagnation, and then we continue to build. It's not a perfect thought, but it is a thought nonetheless. It's a pretty good, well-formed thought, I think. So soon enough, all I'm saying is that this suggests that even if we go lower, it won't be much, and we do have a nice pop to go. I would think that we do have a nice pop. So with that in mind, now that I think we're all on the same page, I hope we are. Maybe you think I'm crazy now. Now you think I'm crazy? It wasn't any of the other stuff. High to low, here we are. 236 resistance, 069 support. I think we are coiled up and ready to go. Typically, in this kind of scenario where you do find resistance at the 236 and then support at the 069, you don't interact with the 382. You do pierce to the 0.5 or even to the golden ratio. So from here, the pop up should take us either to the 0.5, which is a nice 58% move, or maybe all the way up about 100% between 3078 and 30617. That's the area intended, and I would think that we do interact with this golden ratio zone. There is a solid chance we could stop at the 0.5 though. Getting above this zone, stopping at prior areas of support, kind of right in the center point of this zone here, it makes sense. I would think more so that we just rip up to the golden ratio, but we'll see. And who knows, maybe we even see something more powerful than that. We have seen 100% moves and larger with the same setups that we have now. So, and TOSHI is very volatile. But I don't think we're going to see a move like this come into play. I would think that we see something again between 3062 to 3078, somewhere in that range. That's where I think we're going to go. Looking at the other indicators now, let's pull everything up. Let's just see here. I mean, on the daily time frame, rejecting the 50 is not a good look, but we are kind of consolidating here. Right? Typically, if you reject the 50, you would go down. That's a bearish thing, but you found support at the 40, and here we are kind of consolidating. So I think maybe we do something productive here. We broke out of our downtrend after all, our lower low, lower high trend there, broke out of that. Maybe we're forming an uptrend here. Higher lows, higher highs, I don't know. It's not a good look on the RSI, but there are some reasons to be hopeful and to even suspect some productivity here. The stochastics would suggest that we go down a little bit, but in all fairness, we have found support a few times right in this area, actually. A little bit right there. We go back in time, there's some resistance right here. There's some support right there in that area, resistance right in the area that we're at now. Support here, support there, support there. You know, it's not the most common thing, but we do at times find support here, and you are being a little weird with the price, so the stochastics might not be giving the best readings. With that being said, it might make more sense that over the coming days we move down a little bit, and again, that's okay. We can move lower. We can even see a lower low than this, and still this move is plugged in, programmed in. We're going to see it happen soon enough, right? Any day, any week now. The MACD, well, we've already gone over that at length, right? 1 hour time frame here. Look at that. I like that bounce. I like this a lot. I think it looks good. Let's look at this with some volume on it, actually. TOSHI on Coinbase. Not a lot of volume. Yeah, that's okay. You don't need volume down here. Okay, I like that you just rejected this area. That's nice. You have some bullish divergence you're playing off of. Stochastics, MACD, everything suggests, and especially the MACD here, again, you're close to that zero. You're getting set up for a cross. This is a false cross down. You're getting set up for a cross to the upside. I really do think today, how much time do we have left? 8 hours left in the day. I think today we'll see TOSHI close higher. Yeah, we're at 00039 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if even if we took out the current high of 30398, if we close back above 304 today, I wouldn't be surprised. I would very much expect a break of this range here is going to happen today. We probably move right up to this area here, right at about 420, baby. 30420. That's what we're going to do, probably. If I had to guess. 4 hour time frame there. Again, just the idea here on the 1 hour is that what we're doing is we're set up for a cross on the MACD. Stochastics are postured upwards, and we have this bullish divergence. You're bearish overall on your RSI, but you're set up to go higher, and I think you will. I think this here was a test to break lower. You failed that test, no volume came in, and now we're reverting back to the upside. Likely that comes with the break of this, so we should see a standard retracement, which I feel like obviously we would go right here. And that's right there, 30420. It's just perfect. It's iconic. 4 hour time frame here. The RSI is a bit neutral. A bit neutral. I wouldn't say bearish. I wouldn't say bullish. A bit neutral. If anything, I'm bullish on it here, bouncing off the 40, but a bit neutral. The MACD, bullish divergence, higher lows with lower lows, right? Stochastics, same thing. Yeah, I think that we want to continue higher. The stochastics and the MACD even kind of make me think that we're on our way, not just here, but to higher highs here. And if we do that, we're breaking out of this range here, which could be good. You guys, wow, that actually might mean then that this move we are identifying on the daily time frame with our MACD, maybe it's happening sooner than I thought. Maybe we don't move lower. The 4 hour time frame gives me a lot of hope here. This looks good, you guys. I like this a lot. You're clearly struggling with your zero, and that's because you've been moving sideways for so long, but I think you're in a position to move higher, not lower from here. And in which case, I want to throw on some fibs here. Let's take a high to a low here, and then I want to take on a daily time frame. I want to take another high to low. I want to take this. I want to take this high. I'm going to take this high to this low here and just measure that move. We're not going to go with that high. So from here, I would think, yes, I would think the move that we make from here is probably right there to 306 effectively. Because that's your golden ratio. It's also your 0.5 retracement of this high to low. I think that's where we go. We'll probably find some turbulence there, consolidate, whatever, and then continue to rally. So from here, even if we go a little bit lower, hell, even if we see a lower low, which I don't think we're going to. I think that we are, if anything, going to move sideways, but likely we're going to move up from here. Even if we go lower, we'll come up to this area. Even if we move sideways, we'll come up to this area. Even if we move up, we'll move up to this area. This is the next area. I don't care about any of the other noise. 0.006, somewhere right around there, and then we'll figure ourselves out from there. Of course, I do expect TOSHI has much higher prospects in mind. I believe that we will break out and see new all-time highs over the coming weeks, over the coming months. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we were above this high by the end of the month of December, but new all-time highs might be reserved for January. And going into January and February, we should see something that's around like, I don't know, anywhere from about half a cent to 1 cent in itself. That's the expectation. I'm thinking somewhere right there in between at like 0.007, right? 007 to 0069, somewhere in there for the comedic value. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. That's all I've got. I really wanted to get on here and talk about the MACD because it was just something. Don't think that this identified in another chart will work out the same way. It's just something that I've noticed has worked out for TOSHI. Okay, what I'm trying to say is if you're looking at this and you're seeing some bullish divergence being built here, you got some bullish momentum pent up, and you think that that means you have to move up. Well, for TOSHI, historically speaking, it almost always has. It almost always has. But that's for TOSHI. A different chart might have different results. Maybe it has this exact same setup throughout its life, and every single time it fails. Not TOSHI. TOSHI, every time it has this setup, it succeeds. It goes higher, significantly higher. That doesn't mean a higher high than here, but just means, a sturdy retracement from here. Maybe it does imply a higher high, and in time it will. But just because that works for TOSHI, just because that observation is something we made with TOSHI, doesn't mean you should apply that to all charts. Do your research, understand the relationships before you just use a concept for everything, okay? I don't want people getting wrecked off of, maybe they're trading something in the traditional markets. They're trading Tesla, they're trading Microsoft, and they see the same look on the daily time frame, just like TOSHI. It worked for crypto. Why isn't it working for stocks? Sometimes it doesn't, man. So, and maybe it does. Maybe most charts, I don't know. Maybe most charts have this exact look. They have the same reactions, and they all perform the same way. I don't know. It's just an observation that I made right now. I feel like I've seen this happen before, and it hasn't worked out. Not with TOSHI, but with other things. So just again, keep in mind, every chart kind of has their own personality. They're like people. They're all the same, more or less, right? They all perform and behave similarly. It's just different quirks about them. They have different preferences. This one's preference is, with this kind of setup, to move higher. That's its preference. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon enough we should be seeing a nice move up higher. And that should break the structure of a downtrend, and that should get us set up to, as we progress throughout this month, take out these highs and set us up for new all-time highs going into January. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.